Well, it's no surprise here, but Joe Biden is completely underwater amongst voters looking ahead to the November midterm elections, thanks to 40-year high inflations and spiking violent crime rates across the nation. But don't just take my word for it. Even the fake news can't cover for the old man in the Oval Office anymore.
According to a new ABC Washington Post poll, Republicans hold a 21-point lead in key battleground districts across America with a wide margin of 55 to 34%. So some good news there, Jen.
That's right. Joining us now to weigh in is former Principal Deputy Press Secretary in the Trump White House, Hogan Gidley, along with attorney and contributor at Turning Point USA, Erin Elmore. Hogan, Erin, welcome to you both. Great to see you.
Thanks so much.
Hogan, I'd love to start with you here because former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki, she's back on TV, has a lot to say, and she's got a take on the upcoming midterms that she talked about on Meet the Press yesterday. Listen to this.
If it is a referendum on the president, they will lose, and they know that. They also know that crime is a huge vulnerability for Democrats. I would say one of the biggest vulnerabilities. The economy is hanging over everything, but you do have to look at state-by-state factors.
So even if she said if the midterms are a referendum on Biden, the Democrats will lose, what do you make of this, I mean, shockingly truthful statement coming from somebody like Jen Psaki, now turning on her former boss, Hogan?
Well, it's interesting because when she was behind the podium, she rarely told the truth. Now she's on television and she's kind of unleashed here. Look, I think she sees the writing on the wall, as do many Democrats. It's not just the American people who don't want Joe Biden in the White House anymore. Democrats don't want him in the White House either. They're using the old Stacey Abrams tried and true excuse of having scheduling conflicts whenever Biden comes to town. They don't want to run next to him. They don't want to be seen anywhere near him. He's absolutely been an abysmal failure domestically, and now with the international crises we face as well, with a potential nuclear war with Russia, there are all types of issues that he can't dig himself out from under. The economy, crime, the southern border, all the top issues amongst the voters, and he is underwater on all of them.
Absolutely. Now, let's go over to Erin. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre was asked earlier today to respond to the overwhelming amount of Democrats not supporting a second term of the Biden presidency. Take a listen.
I want to ask you about the new poll that was out this weekend, this ABC Washington Post poll. It shows 56% of Democrats want the party to nominate someone other than Biden, and for people under 40, 75% want the party to pick someone different. Is the president concerned by this? How's he digesting a number like that?
So, as you know, I'm very limited on how I can discuss any kind of elections.
She's very limited on a lot of things. So, Erin, in typical White House press secretary fashion, Karine Jean-Pierre gave a non-answer. In that recent 60 Minutes interview, Biden himself also gave a wishy-washy answer if he'll run again. If he doesn't run, could we really see a gruesome Newsom on the Democratic ticket with his running mate as Stacey Abrams? The ladies of The View literally said that that would be their dream ticket, and I agree with them because they'd lose, in the words of Donald Trump, huge.
Huge. But let's just get through this midterm before we start predicting what's going to happen in 2024, because Stacey Abrams, if you look at the statistics and polling right now, she's set up to fail. So what are we going to have on the Democrat ticket? Someone that fits a bill because of a racial profile that's a two-time loser? I don't see how that's the greatest strategy for the Democrats. They already have the problem of our southern border being completely flooded, the kitchen table issues that are plaguing Americans, whether it's inflation or gas prices, or the grocery shelves being empty and job shortages and things of that nature. So honestly, right now, I think it's best for specifically the Republicans to focus on all of the shortcomings of the Biden administration and how we instead are for funding the police, lower taxes, an America First agenda. And maybe it is Newsom and Abrams, but it's a long way away. We're all going to be really tired and have a lot more gray hair by then. Let's just get through these midterms.
Well, you know what? Another problem among many that the Democrats are dealing with right now is losing the Latino vote. We see Latino voters swinging to the Republican Party in massive numbers. You saw it with Mayra Flores with that historic victory down in Texas. MSNBC held an event with Texas Latino voters, and just listen to what one of them had to say about switching over to the GOP. It's really interesting. Watch.
Why are we suddenly seeing a Republican having so much momentum? What do you all think?
We were already conservatives. We were already with conservative values. It's just nobody noticed. They took us for granted. The party, the Democratic Party, left me.
So interesting. He said the Democratic Party left him. Hogan, could you elaborate on that? Because, you know, we saw that massive swing amongst Hispanic voters for Trump and when he was in office as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And it continues to be the trend with polling data and people fleeing the Democrat Party. Because, look, in large measure, Hispanics don't like what the Democrat Party is all about. First and foremost, they're religious. They're Catholics, and they don't like some of the things that the Democrats push against religion and religious freedom, of course. But also, it's always been interesting to me because people in the Latino community celebrate gender. They have a gendered language, and you have the left trying to cram down on them words like Latinx and change the language of an entire population. There are different things that they like to do, things they have different languages. But for whatever reason, Democrats still treat them as a monolith, not to mention the fact they call them breakfast tacos on the side. So the whole thing is falling apart for the left and their narrative as it relates to the Hispanic community. You're seeing more and more people leave that party and come to the Republican Party where they should be in the first place. And people like Donald Trump started that trend, and I think it's going to continue.
I think we'll also see that trend among African-American voters as well. Erin, what do you believe is the #1 issue on the minds of voters right now? Polls point to inflation, education. What's your take?
Probably inflation, but I do think all of these other issues are very important. We saw in Virginia with Glenn Youngkin winning, the parents were really disturbed by what their children were learning in school. So education, the economy, safety, security, and absolutely just all of those issues that keep us up at night worrying about the future for our children and our families. While the left is pushing the agenda of the Green New Deal and pronouns and a woke military, we're all sitting here worried about what the future is going to look like. And that's what's going to resonate with the voters in November.
All right, Hogan, Gidley, Erin, Elmore, it's always a pleasure having both of you here. Thanks.
Good to see you guys.